Hey guys, it's Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. And today we are doing a comparison between the cheapest barbell collars that I recommend versus the most expensive ones. Now, there's a lot of reasons to spend just some amount of money on collars. Collars are a safe way to lift. Do I recommend them on every single lift? And do I think they're like the number one to prevent lifting injuries from happening? Heck no. I definitely think safety spotters and things like that are better to use, but I do think this is a thing that home gym owners should use, and so I talk about them often. But there are ranges in prices, just like on every other category of equipment, on collars. And a question we often get is, Coop, why would I spend so much freaking money on a pair of collars like these when I could get a pair of collars like these or a pair of collars like spring collars? And so today I want to walk through the differences between the most expensive and the cheapest collars that I think are out there, tell you what I like about them, the differences, and why you'd spend more money or why you honestly maybe shouldn't. Let's get into it. So first, let's talk about the cheapest ones. And these are the ones that probably most of you will have experience with or interest with because they are way more accessible than those ones over there. These are the Lockjaw Hex collars. Now, we've tested and reviewed every single barbell collar clamp that is out there. And I don't mean that like jokingly, like literally we've done all of them. We've got videos and articles on them. We'll put links in the bio to those if you'd like to see them. If you like this sort of video, make sure you like it because it lets us know what content we should create. And if you'd like to see other tests on other product categories like these in the depth that we go into at GGR, then make sure you subscribe. But these are the Lockjaw Hex collars. And the reason these are some of the cheapest ones I recommend is obviously because of the price. These come in at $14.99. And if you check the link below the like button, it's an Amazon link. It'll have updated pricing, but it's pretty much consistent across the board that it's about 15 bucks, including shipping. To be honest, that is a pretty cheap amount of money for something that ultimately could last you somewhat of a long time. Now, I want to be clear. These are not the best collars in the world. There's a few things to look at. Number one is they don't grip extremely tight. We'll show them going on the bar when we do some tests, but there's not like this overcoming thing that has to happen for them to get on the bar and go past to prevent it from opening. We see that with some of the higher end Lockjaw collars. Some of the other ones, maybe I'll show you, where it's like they literally lock on. They call these Lockjaws, but they don't necessarily lock because there's no sort of like clip within there to keep it held. The other thing is it's just kind of a cheap material. Like you can't really do that with most metal collars. You take any other Lockjaw that's like a higher end plastic, you're not gonna be able to just squeeze it and like just manipulate it in that way. This is like a nylon plastic with like a rubbery material that's pretty thin. It's designed to be lightweight, designed to be easy to put on, and designed to be pretty cheap. So it kind of makes sense that it's not like the highest quality. That doesn't mean there's nothing about it that's good. Like the inside ring of it is a rubberized collar, which allows it to stick better on the bar. It does have like this rubberized grip here that's plastic that allows it to go over. But the biggest reason you buy these is because you don't want to use spring collars, which I definitely understand because spring collars are not that great. That's not saying you shouldn't use those, or it's not like you use like the best thing or nothing. Like spring collars can work in a pinch, but I think for most home gym owners, you should upgrade to at least something like this. But these are the cheap ones. Let's talk about the expensive ones over there. Okay, these are the most expensive collars. There are more expensive collars. I know I'm gonna get people in the comments that are like, Coop, what about the sick collars that are made of stainless steel and use roller bearings? Like, yeah, I know about those. What about the competition collars that are stainless and weigh 5 pounds a piece? I know about those too. But for most people, these are like the most expensive collars that are commercially viable that most people, some home gym owners are using. And these are the Eleiko Oppen collars. Now, I want to be clear, I like these collars. Like there's just something bougie about them that is nice. Anybody that's into products is a product person. They're going to recognize there's some cool things about these. Now, that doesn't mean they're ones that I would recommend over a lot of others. That doesn't mean they're my absolute favorite. I'll talk about those in a moment. But these are a pretty cool collar, despite them being quite expensive at $89 for a pair. At least that's what they are now. Probably after shipping, it could be, you know, $90, $80 difference between those ones over there. But what makes these so nice, number one, the material and construction. Like, these are a very premium feeling collar. So the outside aluminum that's anodized. It's got this like nice snap feature. It's open. They call it the Oppen collar because it like slides on the bar. You can put it on just like you can with like normal collars, but you can also slide it over the top, which is very nice. It's also rubberized to protect your very expensive bumper plates or iron plates that you're using. In addition to that, it's got this nice little clip here. And then ultimately, the other thing is they are calibrated, and we've measured them at 0.25 pounds, and they are 0.25 pounds. And one of my favorite features, they're magnetized, okay? So they stick to metal, and in a home gym, you're around metal all the time. So just being able to throw them on the squat rack is very nice. But beyond the look, the finish, the feel, the control, is there really that much difference between these ones and those $15 ones? Let's find out. Okay, now let's test them. First is just to show how they go on. So slide on the bar just like any other collar and clamp down. I can already tell, like, despite these being, you know, a collar I'd recommend, they are cheap, and so like they're not gonna hold super well. I can't like pull it off like this. Like, I'm honestly not getting any movement. It's very tight, but I can tell just by the pressure that's going on this, it's not gripping like that tight. We're basically just gonna throw it overhead a couple times. I'll throw it unevenly, I'll throw it evenly, just to see what the movement's like. And then we'll do what we call the Coop collar test, which is an extreme test, and not what these are designed for, but I think it is like the most extreme to tell us where they're at. Just so I don't make you guys look bad, I'm gonna do 135 instead of like 500. Okay, just so you see, not a ton of movement there. There is movement right here. Like, you can see it's already moved, okay? So I'm just gonna do it again. Trying to throw down evenly. Moved, I would say, a little bit more. I mean, it's not a scientific measurement. It's moved a little bit more, I know, but like you can see, it has moved. Now I'm gonna try and throw it unevenly. So I'm gonna throw it on the right side, left side. That's really where you're gonna see more counterbalance. More movement, more movement. Show some deadlifts. Okay, so we can see the most that this has moved. And if you had more weight on there, would it move more? Maybe. The thing is with 135, because it's such a thin disc, like it does have a tendency to just move a little bit more than if there's more weight on there. The most that we've moved is, I don't know, 1/2 inch maybe, a little bit over that. So not a ton of movement, but if you're in the middle of a CrossFit workout, you're doing high repetitions, there is nothing more annoying than having to unclip this, move this over, when all you want to do is focus on the workout and get the work done. So now let's do the Coop collar test, where we stand on it. Okay, I've repositioned the collar. We will now place it in the hole. Okay, and I'm already seeing some movement. Okay, so I don't know if you saw that, but I placed it in and there is some movement there. I don't even think I need to stand on this to like move it down. Oh, well, it's resisting more than I thought. Do not resist, bar. Okay, I'll stand on it. That's doing pretty good. Like, there are way more expensive collars we've tested that do not hold that well. Example, the Pro Locks. Pro Locks out here catching strays, but oh, all right, there we go. You can definitely see there's some more wear from the Cerakote wearing off the bar end onto the collar, but honestly, that's not too bad, 15 bucks. Now, let's drop the bar overhead, do some of the deadlifts, same things, with the collars that cost $75 more. Let's do the Oppen collars. So, obviously, instead of doing this, what a revolutionary feature, I can do this. They go on quickly, they snap pretty easily. I know some people have said like it's not super great for one-handed operation, but to me that was only when they were brand new. Over time, they've broken in a little bit. and I can take them on and off with one hand pretty easily now. Now that may affect the grip, we'll find out. There's some movement there. About the same amount of movement there was before. This one's holding a little bit tighter. It's deadlift. It's moving a little bit more. All right, I'll offset it now. This one is definitely taking the heat. Honestly, this has moved just as much, about a ½ inch, as the $15 collars. This collar is the one that we destroyed. There's a marking there, we destroyed it previously, but I don't know if that should really affect its holding power. Now the Coop test, we're not gonna do it again because we don't wanna break these again. We'll put it on screen. These collars are not made for the Coop collar test. I have never seen that happen. Look, they're peeling off. Man, that's so disappointing. Okay, so what does this tell us? If you want a premium feeling collar with magnets and don't mind paying extra money for it, you can get these. But these ones do not perform significantly worse than these, which is kind of the moral of the story for most products in general. There's a bell curve, right? And you have products that lie on this curve, and it's like the money curve, quality, performance, everything like that. And the higher you spend, the gains you get are incremental. That doesn't mean they're like vastly different. My experience with these is that these do not hold significantly better than these $15 ones. Will these last longer than these? Probably, if you're not abusing them like we have, but you could buy a bunch of these for the cost of these. Do I personally like these and will use these more? Yeah, but I do want to show you kind of what I think is maybe the gold standard of collars, kind of the one that just like, it meets in the middle on price, but it holds just really well. Let's show you. Okay, these are the Rogue USA Olympic collars. By and large, these are the ones most people recommend. They're very light. They're about 50 bucks or so. They sometimes have sales on them. I've had these forever. These are probably the collar that have had the most use. I don't use them as much anymore because I use those Eleikos oftentimes because I just like the feeling of them. But these have had tons of abuse. Snap these on. Okay, and just to show you. No movement. Offset. Some movement. This is the most they've moved, and these have been used a lot. So they have moved. I wouldn't say they've moved as much as maybe the other two. These have also held up really well in the Coop collar test. They actually held the best out of all of them. But during deadlifts, they've done okay, although they've had a ton of use. And they're about half the price, maybe a little bit over that, of the Eleikos. So again, we've done all these reviews and these tests. If you want to go on the cheap end, go with the Lockjaws. If you want to go on a little bit higher end, these are probably the ones we'd recommend for most people. If you just want something bougie, but the performance, in my experience, as we've shown on camera, isn't that much different, you can go with Eleikos, but the reality is, like, for security and like safety-wise, the Lockjaws aren't going to be that much different. Okay, this is Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. Is there any other product categories where you're like, Coop, we'd really like to see the most expensive versus the least expensive and see the differences? We plan on doing this with barbells. If you'd like to see that, make sure you subscribe. But if you have other ones, let me know in the comments. This is Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. We'll see you next time. Peace.